Aku saja nak tanya je lah, people like Akmal Saleh, Zahid Ibrahim, all the UMNO goons. Now, you project yourself to be Muslim, konon lah ikut Allah, ikut Quran, ikut sunnah konon, dan ketayap, you are the one championing Gaza lah konon. But, do you not know that UMNO is synonymous with corruption? Tak punyalah banyak kes corruption, rasuah, abuse of power, all by pemimpin-pemimpin UMNO, orang nak UMNO. People rejected UMNO in previous elections. Najib jatuh pun pasal corruption. The father of all corruption is Najib. Tapi to UMNO, that is their bosku. They embrace, they extol the father of corruption with the litany of convictions, with charges in prison, trying his best to abuse the system, trying to maximize and squeeze the royals for any form of pardon. Yang tu tak ada pula isu Islam. Islam kata corruption okey kah? Boleh kah? You can try to lie or whatever, but the point is terang lagi bersuluh. Najib is corrupted lah. And UMNO punya duit pun duit apa? And all kinds of revelations. Petronas punya duit apa UMNO buat dulu. You know, it is common knowledge. It's not even a secret anymore. Everybody tahu. So, macam mana tu? And orang macam ni nak lecture menteri kita, menteri tourism kita, be in a function yang serve alcohol. To me, it is such a flagrant hypocrisy. You kata arak haram. Rokok pun haram kan? Fatwa dah keluar kan rokok haram. So, sekarang ni kalau menteri pergi ke function, dia isap rokok, you ada isu tak? Tak pernah ada isu kan? How can you isap rokok? It is haram. Tak ada. Now, I nak tanya UMNO lah, tanya Akmal, is rokok less haram than liquor? In fact, kalau you minum liquor in the room with me, I'm not affected by the liquor. You drink, you intoxicate yourself, antara you dengan the alcohol and your God lah. Tapi kalau you smoke cigarette, whatever you exhale, on top of whatever you do to destroy your lungs and whatever you do wrong between you and your God, you also exhale your cigarette punya fumes, and you affect others. Women, children, baby, me. And we have to inhale the secondary smoke, which is more harmful to our health. So to me, compare that to even makan babi. Orang makan babi, dia makan lah. Kita boleh katalah kotor ke apa ke. Well, I may agree or disagree. I'm a Muslim. I don't consume pork. But there are so many people who consume pork lives longer than people who do not consume pork. Ada yang live until 100 years old pun. So therefore, it doesn't necessarily mean you eat pork, you die quick lah. Okay, so if it's dirty ke tak dirty pun, so many people eat things that are dirty. Kita yang makan halal semua pun guarantee ke semua tu bersih. Kita pun tak tahu. Jadi, pasal apa nak sibuk, nak judge orang makan apa, minum apa, why? So, rokok tak ada masalah. Functions kalau ada smoking area, tempat orang pergi smoke, you tak kata apa pun. So, really, is this about Islam or is this about the image that you are trying to project and trying to impose and shove down the throats of others? So, to me, the real problem in this country is UMNO. Nak bising lah ni. So, and then nak pula, Tiong ni apologize. For Tiong, simple ya. What am I going to apologize for? If I want to apologize, it's got to be something that I think I did wrong. To him, he did nothing wrong. Apa yang dia buat salah? Dia memang minum pun. Belum jadi menteri, belum jadi politician pun dia minum. Many of my Chinese friends and my Indian friends, my non-Muslim friends, they drink. So, they drink, they get high a bit, jarang lah dia wasted, kan? So sekarang ni, as far as I'm concerned lah, why can't you leave Tiong and Nga Komeng alone? Why must you disturb them? They're doing work for the country. You go on a selective punya value mission, konon nak marah, and PM Anwar pun terikut-ikut. Oh, bagi stern warning. Okay, when Anwar bagi stern warning pada Tiong, what is that stern warning about? Apa rupa stern warning tu? Tiong, I'm giving you a stern warning. Warning means to not repeat something now, some act. So I'm warning you to not do ... what? To not drink in functions. How is that so? Who is PM to tell anybody you shouldn't drink in a function? You should not organize an event that serves alcohol. Now, balik pada question lah, was that organized by tourism ministry? As I'm concerned, as far as I know, yang arranged tu were players of the industry that's connected and with the international community, international fraternity of tourism. So how is that organized by Kementerian Pelancongan? Kalau Kementerian Pelancongan buat an event and dia keluar duit, and duit kerajaan keluar untuk beli booze, that can be a matter for Akmal and UMNO to raise lah. Why are we funding an event that serves benda-benda haram? Can, but then you have to be consistent. So tak bolehlah keluar untuk rokok ke apa pun, whatever lah. So the booze, duit siapa tu? Booze yang serve kat event tu, yang duk marah sangat kat Tiong ni, duit siapa? Is it duit kerajaan Malaysia? That is the golden question. If it's not duit kerajaan Malaysia, it's paid by orang, the organisers, which is not kerajaan Malaysia. So kok mana yang salah Tiong pergi join that event? And part of being social is to also drink lah, as he drinks as well. Kat rumah pun dia probably drink. Lah ni keluar pula video Tiong menari untuk budak, mabuk, high. So what? He's entitled to his private life. Yang menari itu is Tiong, bukan Menteri Pelancongan. Faham tak? He has a right to be Menteri Pelancongan. He's paid to be that. He is also Tiong. He has a right to be his own person, to live with his family. He's got his personal life. That is his personal space. And minum and going tipsy is not against the law. So he's done nothing unlawful. You can say like it's not moral, menteri macam ni kan boleh mabuk, tipsy. It's not for you to impose your values. He is not supposed to be a paragon of virtues. Menteri or PM, it's not their job to be paragon of virtues. Semua benda elok. No. Dia nak hidup cara dia, pihak dia lah. Tapi cuma kat office dia, menjalankan tugas dia, dia patut be a contoh. Now, to me, being a contoh includes joining forums to promote his portfolio. His portfolio is tourism. Promote tourism. And, to be accepted, to blend in, itu pun nak kacau. Nak usik dia buat kerja. I pantang betul lah, when people are building sandcastle, satu budak datang sepak sandcastle lah. Ini budak tu is macam Akmal lah. Tak ada kerja lain. Nothing constructive. You just find something to pick fault and say, serve alcohol. And then you do this to raise the sentiments of Malays. Malays nak mengamuk, nak marah. Melayu pun pergi beli nombor ekor lah. Melayu yang makan babi pun aku tahu siapa. Melayu yang minum pun banyak. Melayu don't bloody care. Melayu yang tak dijemput sana shouldn't even bother. Yang you all supposed to Melayu yang UMNO peduli sangat apa Tiong minum kat sana. Why? You sakit kat mana? Dia buat kerja dia. How? You want to project that he's unbecoming of a minister? How? When he signed up for the job, did he promise that he will not drink? He doesn't drink during he doesn't get drunk during office hours sampai tak boleh buat kerja lah, betul tak? So if he over lunch ke apa kan, he takes his wine, a glass of wine ke apa kan, that is not enough to intoxicate you to the point of being insane ataupun tak logik fikiran kan. So at which point is Tiong punya kerja slacking? Kalau kerja dia slack, dia tak deliver, then it's only right PM ubah dia, tukar dia. Tapi kita ada punya banyak menteri tak minum pun, pakai tudung semua, buat kerja merepek, don't perform, and the portfolio is worst ever. Public condemnation non-stop, macam-macam punya scandals happening, tak remove pun. Tak pernah kena stern warning pun. So yang Tiong ni deliver apa, pasal dia minum, stern warning kat dia. I'm really curious lah. What form of stern warning yang PM bagi kat Tiong ni? What is the content of that? But what I salute the non-Malay punya komponen parti, mereka senyap lah. Mereka tak ada lawan. They probably also know that PM is just trying to firefight. To pander to UMNO punya antics. But to me, I've come to the point where I'm just fed up with UMNO punya benda lah. They always have an issue. Tak ada kerja lain. Always trampling an issue, and dia nak impose dia punya moral values to people. When it is flagrant hypocrisy to me for UMNO to impose Islamic values on other people. Anything that UMNO is known of is anything but Islamic. Corruption, macam-macam benda lah. I don't know where to begin. I'm not about to start vilifying UMNO. I don't need to. They are a villain party. Now, they are given a second chance to try to be useful to the nation. But, adalah things that they are useful to the nation. But in the meanwhile, they let around, an unchained terrier macam Akmal ni. And Akmal, just shoot his mouth and just create, divisive and disturbing punya issues. Daripada KK Mat punya socks, tak sudah-sudah. Macam-macam, one after another. All Akmal is doing, and I don't know what Akmal is trying to achieve. Apa dia terus-terus nak buat? Tak try dapat sokongan Melayu ke? Or to get Malays to menyampah the government ke? Zahid got to make an informed choice now. He has got to decide now. You want to keep this Akmal or not? Or do you want to put him on a tight leash? Because at the end of the day, you decide lah. UMNO ni akan jadi lebih penting ke atau tak come the next GE? Because the way I look at it, I nampak macam non-Malays memang tak minat dah UMNO ni. Pasal UMNO ni kita punya PMX pander to that, and we have all kinds of regressive punya form of governance. Because of that, we start seeing kleptocrats walk free from courts. We see DNAA. Semua ada flavor UMNO. And people are upset and angry with Anwar Ibrahim, rightfully so, because you're the PM, you're responsible. But for him, because he's dancing with wolves, he is a compromised PM. Next GE, I tak mau dah compromise PM. PM should not be compromised. You will know that the PM is not compromised, the government is not compromised when criminals ataupun people in detention comes to court in an orange suit, not in Armani suit. They stay in regular cell. They don't get their pardon punya appeal sped up, overtake orang lain yang queue bertahun-tahun. You will know that is an uncompromised government when you see that sort of thing. Sampai sekarang, I don't see that. You tengok isu FIFA dengan FAM punya battle, still nak menegakkan benang yang basah. Dia tunjuk evidence pun, you can't prove. Dah, Saifuddin datang, kita ikut follow the law, what not. Yalah, ikut law, you sebagai home minister, you boleh declare siapa-siapa pun lah nak jadi resident kan, nak jadi national kan. Yalah, memang FIFA tak kata you tak ikut law. They're just saying that you falsified the documents many years ago to legitimize or naturalize grandparents who were not even born or have anything to do with Malaysia. Why? To legitimize, to make good and to make lawful the my card punya my card being produced for all those 7 players. Well, that fact remains lah. You boleh kata lah you buat lawful ke apa ke. Well, FIFA tak kata FM buat benda tak lawful. FIFA just highlight that these are not Malaysians. And you menggelabah lah nak defend. So tengok this kind of government. Shameless. Benda macam ni pun shameless. Malu. Benda malu ni bukan saja pada FIFA dengan rakyat Malaysia. Satu dunia tengok. We are being laughed at. Kita jadi macam paria, tahu tak? In the international punya community. To me, tak tahu lah. To me, Anwar is just disappointing lah. He doesn't have what it takes to become a PM. He became a PM, I think, Allah bagi dia jadi PM to show us what we should not have as a PM. I think so. Tapi tak apa, tengok je lah. Come next GE, let's make informed choices, let's cast the ballot and let's choose the best that we can have. We're not exactly spot for choices. The best that we can have to run the country. Okay? Yang I takut, there may not be even a better alternative than kita punya current PM. Then no choice, still got to go for this current PM. I don't know. I'm just hoping that, towards GE ni, leaders will step up. Hopefully people like Rafizi will offer himself to lead the country. And, he should also make clear his stance on this beer saga lah. Tak apa-apa. To me, it's so childish. And if I'm the PM, I would have told Akmal, stop it. It's got nothing to do with you. It does not desecrate the image of Malaysia. Okay? Because if it's to desecrate the image of Malaysia, then people should object for us to even have a non-Muslim punya tourism minister kan. Tapi still appoint orang yang bukan Muslim whose culture is drinking. So, what's the problem? What's the problem kalau they join the convention of events, international punya events yang feature alcohol? What's the problem? Adakah masalah dia? Masalah dia is Akmal lah. I don't know. To me, sometimes, I don't know whether government needs a tutoring on governance. I have no idea.
Less than a week from now, on the 17th of October, it would have been 7 years since I first saw this video entitled The Insulin Resistance Diet by Cyrus Kambata. It's a lecture by Cyrus Kambata, PhD, who has a PhD in nutritional biochemistry from Berkeley, and previously had a degree in mechanical engineering from Stanford. And because this video made a lot of sense to me, the very next day, the 18th of October 2018, I started on a whole food plant-based diet. in that video, which actually is, I think is incorrectly named, it should be called the insulin resistance reversal diet rather than the insulin resistance diet. It's a diet that doesn't cause insulin resistance, but reverses it. So that was a error, I think, that needs to be corrected. I've also since discovered that Cyrus has oversimplified the analogy. He makes us think of the cell as a house, the insulin receptor site as a keyhole, and insulin as a key that unlocks the keyhole to open the glucose gateway into the cell. The error he makes, or is slightly misleading, is that he presents intramyocellular lipids, which is a form of ectopic fat, as an antagonist that jams up the keyhole, preventing insulin to bind with the receptor site, meaning the key to unlock the keyhole. Well, the truth is a little bit more complex, nuanced, and complicated. The truth is, intramyocellular lipids work further down the line. Okay, so it doesn't act as an antagonist. Insulin does bind with the insulin receptor site. However, despite binding with the receptor site, it's unable to unlock the door for very complicated biochemical reasons. Okay, so the analogy holds so far, but in general, he is correct in saying that intramyocellular lipids is the culprit, as well as its metabolites. The whole problem is a lipotoxicity issue. Anyway, without getting into details of that, I've made a separate. I wrote a separate essay about that. I think I'll turn it into video and post it later. But anyway, it's been 7 years that I've been on this whole food plant-based diet. And I don't just eat plants, I also eat species from other kingdoms, particularly algae, which seaweed belong to. Seaweeds are not plants, they belong to the algae family. And other stuff, like spirulina and chlorella, which are hybrids. They're half cyanobacteria and half fungi or something like that. They're like neither here nor there. And I also eat species from the fungi kingdom. So fungi, mushrooms, toadstools, and stuff like that are not plants. They belong to their own kingdom called fungi. And there are very few animal species that I eat. Okay, one group that I do eat for the omega-3 fatty acids, the omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids. There are 3 of them. There are ALA, EPA, and DHA. I can't pronounce their full names. They're a bit of a tongue twister. If you want to hear more details of that, go to Dr. Rhonda Patrick's channel. She's a biochemist and she can rattle off these chemical names, by heart. Anyway, ALA and EPA are produced in the plant kingdom primarily by flax, chia, walnuts. And DHA is produced mostly by chlorella, spirulina, and seaweed. There are 5 species of fish called smash: salmon, mackerel, anchovy, sardines, and herring, which are high in these omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, particularly DHA. And they don't produce it themselves. They get it from eating seaweed or by eating other fish that eat seaweed. Okay, so if you want to go for the primary source, you can have half a teaspoon of spirulina and or chlorella daily. If you take more, I have taken 2 heaped teaspoons a day, and it gives me hypotension because it's very potent stuff. It'll give me postural hypotension. Okay, so although it makes your blood vessel flexible, it can make it also too flexible. It would dilate when it's not necessary and lower your blood pressure quite a bit. Okay, it can make your blood pressure go down to like 65 over 40 or something, which is, when you stand up from a supine position, if you start seeing stars or feel dizzy, then you've got, postural hypotension, or you're like squatting down and petting a cat, and then you stand up and start seeing stars, that's an issue. But as long as you can, stand up from a squatting position or from a supine position, that means lying flat on your back, standing up, and you don't see stars or feel giddy, it's fine. Doesn't matter what your systolic or diastolic numbers are. That's a test, actually. It's a qualitative test rather than a quantitative test. The numbers in themselves don't mean anything. It's the qualitative aspects that determine whether you have postural hypotension or not, and whether it's a clinical issue or not. Because if you do have postural hypotension, you're prone to falls and things like that. Anyway, to celebrate my 7 years of going on a whole food plant-based diet. Oh, whole foods means unprocessed foods, okay? Foods which are minimally processed, basically as close to nature as you can find it. Whole foods are defined as foods where nothing good has been removed and nothing bad has been added. Okay, so most commercial food that you find in the supermarket, if it comes in a tin or in a box, it is processed. It's probably dehydrated, had most of its water removed. Some have all its fiber removed, So they're food-like substances. They're not real food. Okay, so if you want real food, go to your local pasar tani, your local pasar malam, and get fresh produce, okay? And you'll find they're surprisingly cheap there and very fresh, because most of these traders do not have refrigeration facilities. So they try to sell everything that they buy from the pasar borong in the morning at their stall. If it's a pasar malam, they try to sell it, and not carry things overnight. So if they run out, they run out. And when they're about to run out, they still have something, they'll sell it very cheap so that they don't have to keep it overnight. Because if they do keep it in their lorry overnight, the next day it will be not so fresh and nobody would buy it. So they tend to clear their stock before they finish for the day. So you can rest assured you get very fresh food at Pasar Malam and Pasar Tani. So I also don't take sofas. Sofas are sugar, oil, flours, and alcohol. Sugars, because it's a highly processed product. To make sugar, you have to boil sugarcane juice. So the act of boiling itself destroys vitamins and antioxidants. You're just left with sucrose, which is disaccharide. I think it's a molecule of glucose stuck to a molecule of fructose or something like that. Anyway, white table sugar is poison. Don't you believe anyone who says otherwise. If you eat fruit, sugarcane juice, it's a totally different thing as far as your body is concerned from a metabolic point of view. But if you take diluted white sugar crystals, your body will treat it as if it were poison. It will actually poison your body in the long term, not overnight, but in the long term. Same with salt. So I don't take salt anymore, not for a long time. I do eat salty things, but not that white powder. All these white powders are poison. Same with monosodium glutamate. You do have MSG in broccoli, in seaweed, and a whole bunch of other things, but that's in its natural form and it's very dilute and it's safe for our body to consume. Our body has been designed to handle it in those proportions, okay? But if you just extract it out and turn it into a white concentrated powder, it's poison. Same with coca leaves and cocaine. When I climb Machu Picchu, they gave me coca leaves to chew on, and I chewed. It's to prevent altitude sickness, and it's perfectly fine. Didn't make me go high or have hallucinations or go psychotic or anything like that. And then when I asked what these leaves are, they said they're coca. And then I was surprised. I was shocked. Coca, this is the stuff that you make cocaine from? And then, they started laughing at me. And I said, why are you laughing? They said, well, it takes 400 kilos of coca leaves to make 1 kilo of cocaine. And if you go to any supermarket in Peru and most of Latin America, you could find in the supermarket section where they sell coffee and tea, coca leaves in boxes. They sell it very freely, openly, and it's perfectly legal. Okay, it's only when you concentrate it and make it into cocaine that it becomes problematic. And I think the same applies with ketum and ganja, marijuana. Anyway, the Swiss physician Paracelsus said long time ago, everything is poison. It's only a matter of dose. And he introduced the concept of a therapeutic window. So the idea is everything is poison, even if it's water, the most essential nutrient, there's this story about the number 3. 3 minutes without oxygen, you're dead. 3 days without water, you're dead. 3 weeks without food, you're dead. So water is very essential. 3 days without it, you're dead. But if you try and drink 11 liters of water at one go, you'd be dead too. Your blood in your body is about 11 liters. So if you drink 11 liters of water one go, that's about 3.5 gallons. You'd dilute your water by half. Your electrolyte percentage would go very low. You'd get convulsions, muscle spasm, headaches, vomiting, diarrhea, a whole bunch of other things, and it will be a very slow, painful death for you. So everything, even the most essential nutrient, is poison if it's in excessive amounts. So the idea is to get its sweet spot. There are also things which are poison, which are not beneficial at any dose, even in parts per million. Things like aluminium, cyanide, copper is also a two-edged sword. We need it in very small amounts, but if you exceed that in a very small amount, you can get over-methylation and you can get bipolar disorders and schizophrenia, stuff like that. So copper is problematic. Aluminium is strange. It's an element that the body does not require at all. We have no dietary requirement for it. It's very strange. It occurs in nature, it's there, but our body just doesn't need it at all. And if it's in the body, it causes problems. Okay, so get rid of all your aluminium cookware. And for the same reason, you should get rid of your copper cookware, because if you have copper or brass is alloy of copper and tin. So if you do have brass, like this Blanger, Tembaga, or copper pots and pans, which the French are very crazy about because it conducts heat very quickly, do get rid of it. You're far better off having cast iron cookware. Anyway, you do need copper, but it's very easy to overdose on copper, and it's very easy to overdose on aluminium because no dose is safe as far as aluminium is concerned. So just get rid of all your aluminium cookware. Most rice cookers have an aluminium steel bowl, and the ones which are Teflon covered are the worst because these Teflons will come off, scrape off, and they are microplastic. Teflon is a plastic of sorts, and it's indestructible. It doesn't biodegrade, so it will become microplastic that will get stuck in your body at the cellular level and prevent lots of physiological processes from happening. And what's worse is Malaysia is the world's dumping ground for plastic. And as people, Malaysians have in their body the most microplastic in the whole world. It's sad, but it's true. And it's about time we wake up to that fact and do something drastic about it. Okay, anyway, Saturday, 18th of October 2025, I'm going to celebrate 7 years of eating a whole food plant-based diet. The celebration will be at the Malaysian Association for the Blind Canteen. It's in Brickfields in Jalan Tebing off Jalan Tun Sambantan 4. The easiest way to get there is by monorail. It's one stop away from KL Central. Just get out of the monorail, cross the road. There's a traffic light there. And you're at the MAB complex. Just tell the guardhouse you need to go to my function in the canteen and they'll show you the way. The pedestrian crossing, the zebra crossing between the monorail station and the MAB is very hazardous. There are a lot of motorcycles that will churi ayam and cross, despite the fact that the zebra crossing would be beeping and it'll be green for pedestrians, blind pedestrians to cross. These people like to churi ayam. I've smashed a lot of them with my white cane and swore, expletives, choice expletives in half a dozen languages, particularly in Tamil, as well as in Chinese, Malay, English, whatever, because they just don't respect the law. And people who don't respect the law deserve no compassion from me. Okay, I hold them in utter contempt and derision. And there are cars who do that as well. Okay, I've bent quite a number of my white canes when cars zoom past me. Quite annoying. They even do it at the pedestrian crossing at UMMC. There's one particular incident where my cane got quite badly mangled by a car that just zoomed past, even though it was supposed to be red for cars and it was green for pedestrians to cross. So I have no sympathy for these people. I mean, I wish if I were autocratic dictator, I'd put them against a firing squad and be shot because they don't deserve any progeny, I mean, we don't want children of stupid people to be born because they're most likely to be equally stupid or disrespectful for the law, because I think respect for the law is inherited from parental behavior. Children imitate what their parents do. If the parents have a apathetic tidak apa attitude, then the children also will have an apathetic, selfish tidak apa attitude. They'll have a me first attitude, which is bad, because we live in a society, and in society we have to have teamwork, and teamwork is everything. About teamwork is about subordination of self. It's for the good of the group of society, not for your individual advantage. Okay, so it's for our collective advantage. I made a video about Deepavali. I'll post a link here. There are very few views because it's quite deep, and I think most of our audience, it's above their heads. They wouldn't understand. But the whole point of this channel is to post messages that deserve a wider audience. For those who understand, please, viralize it, spread the word so that more people can understand. For those who don't, please watch it again. Try to get something out of it. Some things you need to watch as much as 6 times, 7 times, before different layers of meaning get to you, and then you have a greater appreciation. Just like when I watched Cyrus Kambata's video the first time, the impression I got was that intramyocellular lipids was an antagonist to insulin, but it's not. It actually works in a slightly different way. But the net result's the same. Is all ectopic fats are poison in the long run, particularly visceral fat. And depending on where the intramyocellular binds at which particular gland or organ, it will manifest as different diseases. Most commonly as chronic kidney disease, but also cardiovascular disease, and also dementia. In fact, dementia is now known in some circles as type 3 diabetes. Okay, when cells are deprived of glucose, they They're starved of fuel, so they atrophy and die. And when the cells in that particular organ dies, then the organ fails. And when the organ fails, you have a problem with that organ. Okay, so if you're free on Saturday, 12 to 2:30, do drop by the MAB canteen. Invitations by, what do you call it, donation. If you donate 50 ringgit or above, you can drop by. You can donate by scanning the QR code. I'll provide a link in this video, or you can pay when you come. I'll have a curated menu, but the curated menu is only for the first 8 people to come. And if you come after the first 8 person, or don't pay before, so that I can book, get the catering to provide for you, you have to order something else from the canteen menu. Okay, Kashikin is quite accommodating. She will cook something up for you, either nasi lemak or nasi goreng or mee goreng or whatever. But the menu for the first 8 people would be curated by me, and it'll be a whole food plant-based menu. It'll be nasi ulam, actually. Okay, that's it for today. I know this is a long video, but I just want to get the message out there. See you next time. Bye.
Why WFPB, Doctors for Nutrition? WFPB stands for Whole Food, Plant-Based, a diet and lifestyle focused on plant-derived foods that are unprocessed or minimally processed, while minimizing or excluding animal products and highly refined ingredients. The diet emphasizes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, while avoiding added sugars, refined flours, and oils. The core principle is to eat foods in their natural state or close to it, rather than highly processed imitation products. Key principles: whole foods. Foods that are in their natural, unrefined state or have undergone minimal processing, like canned beans or frozen vegetables. Plant-based. Foods that come exclusively from plants, excluding meat, dairy, eggs, and honey. Minimal processing. A focus on foods that are as close to nature as possible, avoiding ingredients that are heavily refined, such as white flour, white rice, and added oils. Nutrient dense. Prioritizing foods rich in fiber, vitamins, and minerals to meet nutritional needs. Foods to emphasize: fruits and vegetables, a wide variety of fresh and colorful produce. Whole grains, such as brown rice, oats, quinoa, and whole wheat. Legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, and peas. Nuts and seeds, almonds, walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. Foods to limit or avoid processed foods, any food that has been heavily altered from its natural state. Animal products, meat, dairy, and eggs. Refined grains, white flour, white rice, and pasta made from refined flour. Added sugars and artificial sweeteners, including high fructose corn syrup and confectioner's sugar. Added oils, even those considered minimally processed like olive oil, are typically excluded due to their processing and added calories. WFPB versus vegan diet. While both are plant-focused, a vegan diet focuses only on eliminating animal products and can include highly processed foods, while a WFPB diet additionally emphasizes whole, minimally processed foods.
In the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to show your support. share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to show your support.